Imagine being at the most epic dinner party of all time where the food is probably cold, the mood is awkward, and one person at the table is about to do something that'll ruin everyone's night. Oh, and did I mention you're sitting with a guy who's about to pull off the most famous plot twist in history? Welcome to the Last Supper. This isn't your average casual dinner. Someone's about to be called out for literally betraying the host. A guy's about to declare he's the one you should trust. But spoilers, he's gonna mess that up too. So let's dig into the drama, because this meal is about to get way more complicated than just who's getting the last piece of bread. Leonardo da Vinci's The Last Supper is one of the most famous paintings in the world, capturing a powerful moment from the story of Jesus that has fascinated viewers for centuries. But what makes this painting so special? In this video, we'll explore why The Last Supper isn't just a masterpiece of art, but also a window into the culture and ideas of the Renaissance. A little interlude before we get into it. Consider supporting History Rabbit Hole's scavenging addiction of this old rabbit. I'm very happy you're interested in history, as I am, always here for feeding minds as curious as mine. Now let's dig in. It's the Middle Ages. Knowledge and learning were often limited to religious texts. Art and culture were primarily religious, with little emphasis on individual expression. The general worldview was based on the belief that human life was meant for preparation for the afterlife, rather than a focus on human potential or achievements on Earth. This restrictive environment set the stage for the transformative changes brought by the Renaissance, which shifted focus to humanism, secular learning, and individual creativity. Da Vinci's ideas and artistic vision continue to captivate and inspire artists, scientists, engineers, and inventors, serving as a lasting testament to the boundless creativity of the human mind. Before that fateful moment, everything about the Last Supper seems normal. Or at least as normal as it can get when you're sharing a meal with Jesus and his closest followers. The disciples have been walking alongside Jesus for years, witnessing miracles, hearing teachings, and sharing countless meals like this one. But the key here is that, on the surface, everything seems like it's business as usual, at least for the disciples. They're probably still basking in the glow of their last few successes, unaware that everything they've been working toward is about to collapse. This meal was supposed to be a time of celebration, a final gathering before the Passover. The disciples are likely chatting, eating, and enjoying the comfort of familiar surroundings, with no idea that something monumental is about to unfold. Everything that Leonardo da Vinci painted was deliberately there, well-planned, and with a clear and meaningful message. In this painting, what he captures is the precise moment when Jesus announces that one of the 12 apostles will betray him. This pivotal scene from the Gospel of John is brought to life through Leonardo's masterful composition and emotional depth. There are 13 figures in the painting, including Jesus. The scene is centered around Jesus, who sits calmly at the center of the table, with the apostles positioned on both sides. Leonardo employs one-point perspective, with all the lines in the room converging at Jesus' head. This approach not only makes Jesus the visual focal point, but also symbolizes his spiritual centrality in the narrative. He is framed by the windows behind him, and the light from these windows creates a subtle halo effect around his head, reinforcing his divinity. The table is set with simple foods like bread and wine, representing the Eucharist, that is Holy Communion, or the Lord's Supper, bread and wine as symbols of the body and blood of Jesus Christ. Leonardo carefully positioned each apostle to reflect his individual character and role in the story. What makes The Last Supper fascinating isn't just the religious significance, but the chaos that brews underneath. Think about it. This is a moment of deep intimacy, but also of confusion, betrayal, and surprise. The difficulty is that this moment is not just about the betrayal. It's also about the dynamics at play. It's not just about who betrays Jesus, but also about how the other disciples react. Leonardo was a master of observation, and he understood human nature better than most. Each disciple is rendered with such emotional complexity, ranging from disbelief to anger to guilt. The real heart of the struggle within the Last Supper, the internal and external barriers that prevent the disciples from fully understanding what's going on. This isn't just a simple dinner gathering. It's a tense, psychological battlefield where everyone is grappling with the weight of Jesus' words. The barrier here isn't just the betrayal Jesus predicts, but the profound disconnect between their expectations of the future and the harsh reality that's about to unfold. They've spent years following Jesus, expecting a glorious revolution, a triumph over Roman rule. And now, in this moment, Everything they thought they understood is being turned upside down. For many of them, the barrier is that they're just not ready to confront the reality of what Jesus is saying, that one of them will betray him and that he's about to suffer. Some of them even start to doubt themselves. Could it be them? The confusion is written across their faces, and Leonardo captures this perfectly, showing us the inner turmoil that each of the disciples is facing. But there's a bigger trial here too, the barrier of acceptance. They all want to believe in the idea of a leader who will guide them to greatness. But now, that's being shattered in front of them. So, while they're physically present at the table, mentally and emotionally, they're miles away, trying to come to terms with the idea that the person they trusted is about to be taken from them. Leonardo is giving us a powerful look at the deeper struggle of trust, doubt, and what it really means to face the truth when you're not prepared for it. Bartholomew, James, and Andrew form a group of three. All are surprised. Judas Iscariot, Peter, and John form another group of three. Through specific details, Judas is separated from the others because, spoiler alert, he betrayed Jesus. He is clutching a small bag, perhaps signifying the silver given to him as payment to betray Jesus, or perhaps a reference to his role as a treasurer. He is also tipping over the salt cellar, which may be related to the Near Eastern expression to betray the salt, meaning to betray one's master. And he is the only person to have his elbow on the table, and his head is also vertically the lowest of anyone in the painting. Peter wears an expression of anger and appears to be holding a knife, foreshadowing his violent reaction in Gethsemane during the arrest of Jesus. He is leaning towards John and touching him on the shoulder, in reference to John's Gospel, where he signals the beloved disciple to ask Jesus who is to betray him. Now we move on to the main figure and the center of the picture. Jesus is seated calmly at the center of a long table, and his open arms create a stable, symmetrical line that contrasts with the apostles' reactions around him. Behind him, the central window frames him with light, creating a subtle halo effect that draws viewers' eyes directly to him and emphasizes his divine role. This serene depiction of Jesus is a stark contrast to the emotional turmoil surrounding him, capturing the moment he reveals that one of the apostles will betray him. The calm and composed expression on Jesus' face symbolizes acceptance of his fate, showing a profound serenity and understanding of his purpose. Through this portrayal, Leonardo masterfully balances the human and divine aspects of Jesus, embodying both his role as a teacher and his foreknowledge of the impending betrayal. Thomas, James the Greater, and Philip are the next group of three. Thomas is clearly upset. The raised index finger foreshadows his disbelief of the resurrection. James the Greater looks stunned, with his arms in the air. Meanwhile, Philip appears to be requesting some explanation. Matthew, Jude Thaddeus, and Simon the Zealot are the final group of three. Both Thaddeus and Matthew are turned towards Simon, perhaps to find out if he has any answer to their initial questions. A classic example of a student from the last bench. The painting is not only a significant religious image, but also a testament to Leonardo's mastery of perspective and psychological depth. Considered one of the greatest masterpieces of the Renaissance, The Last Supper has inspired countless artists and remains a symbol of artistic and spiritual exploration. Rather than reacting with anger or seeking to punish Judas, Jesus accepted the reality of what was to come, showing a level of forgiveness and humility that exemplified his teachings of love and mercy. In knowing and announcing the betrayal, he also prepared the disciples for the difficult events ahead, subtly encouraging them to examine their own hearts and fortify their faith amidst the turmoil. His knowledge and acceptance made the betrayal more poignant, emphasizing that his sacrifice was a conscious act of love meant to extend forgiveness, even to those who would deny or abandon him. In this way, Jesus' foretelling of the betrayal became a powerful message of his boundless grace, laying the foundation for his followers to find redemption and hope even in their own moments of weakness. Extreme loyalty and self-sacrifice are a really tough theme to chew on. It's honestly a bit mind-boggling, right? I mean, as mere humans, it's hard to even comprehend that level of selflessness. We're all pretty imperfect. No one's signing up to be a saint anytime soon. But we try, right? At the end of the day, we do our best, even if that best is sometimes just showing up and trying not to mess things up too badly. Keep trying, keep learning, and keep having a good time along the way. Take care, and we'll catch you all later.